That's right. It's another late night, which means it's time for another reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag. And tonight, one out. Oh, I can feel I'm grabbing it by the hashtag here, folks. Hashtag boyfriend break.
Dragon, you've been trying really hard to get this podcast right, but I just need one more take, man. I just one more take, and we can get it. Like we've been standing here doing it for for like 5 hours, but I really feel like if we just go one more time, we can get it right. Don't you think so?
Sure.
All right, I'm trying to connect the banter to the sketch, and I'm doing a bad job. Anyways, Dragon, this is an award winner. I don't know much about this company, but it's named after Action Park, so that piqued my interest. Do you know anything about this?
Matter of fact, I do.
Okay, please tell me. Please tell me.
All right, so of course, this was directed, written, and edited by the man of multiple a multiverse of hats, if you will, Joshua Thomas. So yeah, this was submitted to the for the comedy film comedy short film entry for Action Park Media Group, which of course makes me think of the Action Park guys.
So just to be clear, like I'm like 99% sure the answer is no, but they don't have anything to do with the actual Action Park, right?
As far as I can tell by a cursory
Because
glance,
Action Park is still around.
Yes.
But anyways,
as far as I can tell by a cursory glance, no. But if I recall, I want to say Joshua Thomas was he knew. I think he knew a guy involved in the Action Park documentary. I believe one of the there's a comedic actor who's featured in the Action Park documentary. I want to say Joshua Thomas has done something with, but
gotcha.
don't quote me on that. The actor looks similar to Joshua Thomas, oddly enough. But anyway,
maybe he can give us some clarification in the comments when he sees this.
Maybe I could be completely misremembering that. By all means,
sure.
It's been a while since the action. I saw him do something somewhere and correlate to Action Park. Regardless, so no, the Action Park Media Group. From what I can tell, they celebrate media, and they have a number of podcasts. They're very kind of podcast happy around those parts. Just talking about media and such, which I imagine correlates into the topic at hand with social media and such. And so they had a little film festival in the comedy section of it. You had submissions from filmmakers all over from all over creation, and so at this time, JGI, they're crafting a whole bunch of new sketches for their in quotes next season. Of course, I say that jokingly because at this point, Just Giggle, it's just we're adding the numbers. They've kind of forgotten the season thing, because the seasons used to be like, okay, there was a legit attempt at a season for at least 2 seasons, and then, well, we're just going to keep making sketches.
As far as I'm concerned, I like, as much as people love Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the real world, I still think those sketches are the bread and butter of the channel. So as long as they keep making them.
I mean, that's fine. I'm just saying that the fact that Joshua Boy is still referring to him as seasons, I find just a little laughable. Like, really? We're still
leave him alone. He's fine.
I mean, look, it's perfectly. I'm all for going back to the season model. It's just, I mean, it's been a long time since he's kind of referred to him as seasons. Given that,
all
anyway.
right. Look, you know what? Like, maybe he's trying to reboot it. New year, fresh start.
Fair enough. The point
I'll
being,
give you an example. Actually, this is one of the few times I can actually reference Survivor. So, Survivor, for 40 seasons, Dragon, it's always been like Survivor : subtitle, like Survivor, the Australian Outback, Survivor, Winners at War, etc., 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 et al. This season, post-pandemic, after they've been off the air for like 18 months, they're literally just calling the next season Survivor 41. And I got to admit, I kind of like the simplicity of that. And to that extent, I kind of like the simplicity of Josh trying to, if he does make a genuine attempt of like, all right, like, look, we're going to do 12 sketches, and that's going to be the next season, and the next season will have another 12, I don't know. I could see it working well if he, if he puts his mind to it and really categorizes it well. Anyway,
So the point being, however you want to categorize it. The important part is JustGiggleIt sketches are kind of roughly in the 80 range. I forget if it's 80 on the money, but they're in the 80 range, and they're definitely trying to get to the big 100, if you will. So that's kind of where we're chugging along next, and that's going to be quite the milestone. We're very excited to get to. And of course, we're going to be covering it every step of the way as it unfolds. Now, this technically is not, as far as I'm concerned, this is not that until it's actually legitimately posted on JGI, so we're not quite there yet. But, I mean, I don't know, because this is kind of an anomaly. This is kind of fitting to what we did last time on the Grab Bag. We covered the damsel. An anomaly?
Well, the thing that they uploaded this weekend is the big anomaly, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, well, I mean, that one literally is, well, that's what I'm saying. We have some kind of odds and ends here that we've been kind of building up for the interim until we have basically, the point being, old Joshy boy, he's been filling the Joshua Thomas Prince vault with some content that he's kind of editing like a madman. He's like the Kramer for us right now. He's like in next door because we're still in the vault, waiting to be released. And with the stuff that we've done with Josh. In the meantime, he's crafting other stuff that's going to be much more impressive, I'm sure. Anyway. Okay, so the point being, while it's kind of while it's being formulated and kind of prepared, and again, to basically meet that 100 quota, we have stuff like this in the interim, which is like, oh my God, the film festival. And of course, Joshua Boy got his bones in film festivals from the beginning with the 48-hour film festival.
Of course.
So this is kind of a big throwback for him, and I'm gonna take Josh here to the woodshed a little bit.
Oh God, oh really?
I would like to say this authoritatively, but I can't because the live stream, which he really kind of walked people through what the deal with this thing was, can't be found at the moment, despite, like, hey, after the live streams happen, they all go towards the playlist. Well, they're all there with the exception of one. So, yeah, they all go to the playlist My Foot is what I say. And of course, this means Josh's probably going to fix it.
Well, you're really giving Josh a hard time tonight, Dragon.
Yeah, well, it's shit. The man gets it right like 9 times out of 10. There's always that one.
Well, let's give the man credit for the sketch we're talking about, though. Like, the sketch at hand is a very good sketch. So, let's give it. Let's mix the positive with the negative.
That's what I'm saying. No, I just want to be able to say authoritatively what exactly the parameters were. I'm just left with what I remember, instead of just double checking and being absolutely sure, which I can't do now because it's like on that playlist, My Foot. And of course, me saying this means Josh is hopefully going to fix this at some point. Then again, if it means I'm wrong and it's going to be there, I'll take that loss by all means, folks. Whatever helps. Anyway.
All right, and one other thing too that I want to comment on before we get to the sketch, Dragon. I don't know if you're thinking the same thing, but I'm literally already formulating notes in my head for like Act 1 of the sequel to the JGI biopic, being like Pribilski, Joshua Thomas, and Poncio, meeting back up in Wow, I almost called it Tetris. Meeting back up in Texas.
That'd be a lot cooler, though, if it was like a Texan version of Tetris.
Like
all the blocks had hats
But you know what I mean? It's like we kind of started the first JGI biopic with them in Texas. Kind of like the second one, I imagine, would be them. Like, all right, it's like kind of like we're still in recovery room, in recovery mode, kind of licking our wounds from the pandemic, but we're slowly getting back in touch. We're kind of going back to the good old days in some ways.
Yeah, since we're doing the sequel, we better get Glenn Howerton, Melissa Benoist, and Justin Prentice on the line.
Yeah, no, but I Dragon, I mean, we'll see. It's, it all depends on if what happens over the next few years is compelling enough to make a movie out of. But I wouldn't put it past us, would you?
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. We need more story.
Exactly.
Okay, regardless, so here again, what I do know, what I believe is the parameters of kind of the challenge here versus the 48-hour film festival, which is even harder from the sounds of it. Really impressive. So, essentially, the parameters were, I want to say you had to use a stationary location.
Okay.
You had, I want to say, 3 hours, and you had to use an iPhone, or you had to use like a smartphone to take the whole thing down. I want to say those are the 3 main parameters.
You know what? That's funny. I can honestly kind of relate to that just because, as you know, Monkey and I have done a couple comedy sketches at Disneyland that were pretty much just like, all right, we got a silly idea, turn the camera on, let's go. We cracked out that Chip and Dale video in like 5 minutes. But anyways,
and here's the reason we should really be proud of Josh. Here's thinking I took him to the woodshed. I talked some trash, but let me polish the pedestal for the man yet again because he's earned it. He has. So this really warms my heart. So by the stars aligning, and by this, I assume this is what kind of brought it to Joshua Thomas's attention. Action Park Media Group. There's, I believe it's called like the Victory Podcast or something like that. It's Victory something, and a podcast is run by the Entourage boys. It's run by the creator of Entourage.
For real?
Doug Island or something. Doug.
Oh wow!
Island.
That's a big get.
And one of the actors, Kevin Dillon. I believe Matt Dillon's brother.
Yes. I mean, I haven't really watched Entourage, but I've certainly heard the name.
Certainly. So, and of course, Joshua Thomas, big Entourage fan. Again, hence the reason I think he found this thing. He's listened to an Entourage kind of led podcast, and they're like, oh my god, and they're the little film festival. It's a call to action. It's like destiny. The stars aligning. It's all been building to this. I named my cat Vince Chase. It's all making sense. It's all coming together. Let me put on my director's hat. And my writer's hat.
That's awesome.
And my editor's hat. Anyway, so just hats stacked upon hats. As he's wanted to do. And of course, to do this right, and again, because he most recently did a really charming, really wonderful film around the holidays, You're a Better Gift Giver, with the wonderful Kelsey Pribilski. Yet again, another reunion. Kelsey Pribilski made kind of a household name in our kind of corner by Watching You, the show Watching You on Just Giggle. At least the pilot turned into 7 episodes.
Of course.
All right.
Dragon, I'm going to grab coffee really quick. Can you just go ahead and set up the premise of this? I'll be back in literally 30 seconds.
Well, we'll see. All right. Okay, folks. So the premise of this quite simple. Again, with the parameters as established, basically we have a couple just kind of going to lunch, but things go awry. A boyfriend is kind of cajoled into taking multiple photos of his girlfriend, and well, she's not.
Okay, I'm back. All right, go ahead and kick us off.
Right.
Kick off the actual recap.
You're killing me with all this. I just want to let you know that you're killing me with all this right now. But
I'm back. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
All right. So we start with our stationary location, which, again, most likely a stipulation. I mean, it might have just been coincidence or simplicity, or we only have 3 hours or so to do this, so let's just do it convenient. There's this bridge. I want to say around an outlet or something, because they were going to grab lunch. You see an American bakery at the edge of someplace, so I think it's like a shopping outlet or
Yeah, it's kind of like how Disney Springs. I don't know if you've been to Disney. You probably haven't been there. Since,
I have.
But they have the same kind of thing with some things where how connected. Anyways, but yeah, you're right. It's kind of like a little mall bridge, if you will.
Yes. So we have Doug, who is portrayed, of course, by Joshua Thomas. He's the boyfriend taking pictures of Emily. Of course, played by the very photogenic Kelsey Pribilski. Seriously, I love when Kelsey Pribilski shows up, because I'm still moved by her performance in Watching You, which was funny, but also had one of the best dramatic performances ever.
Oh yeah, totally. She hasn't really done a ton with JGI since then, but it's cool that in the in this kind of, like I said, the new sort of post-pandemic era of JGI, she seems to be a fixture of it. So again, kind of cool sort of roots coming back around. It's all coming full circle for this channel.
Oh yeah. All right, so the idea they've been taking a lot. Again, the boyfriend here, he's holding the purse. He's carrying the purse. He's taking all these photos. He's getting a little self-conscious. Oh man, I'm just kind of standing here taking pictures of this. All these passersby are just kind of walking by. It's I've been here forever. It's getting a little old. So it's
Thomas just has, he's just got, of course, the classic, this is one of the things we've admired about the man from the get-go, even back to the, back before we even knew what any of this Just Giggle It stuff was, Dragon, back when we only had the Joker to work with in terms of performances. His facial expressions are just top-notch.
That they are. It's just always just kind of it always just conveyed so much. There's kind of like a simmering, just kind of it's just done with it all. Just a simmering discontent. just kind of brought to the surface so well here of just like being patient, but still just like, you know, are we almost done? Did you get a good one? They're all good ones. You're hot.
Right.
So this is of course here on the Just Giggle It Grab Bag, we like to fundamentally kind of analyze the comedy, which is kind of what we're wont to do, even when it's an Instagram video. But again, an award-winning Instagram video. So this a lot of the comedy here is kind of about the fundamental differences between women and men. At least that kind of first glance. Of course, it's going to be kind of a deeper reveal within the comedy, but it's always about that.
2021.
Certainly, and you were calling out the hypercritical eye. You know, the hypercritical eye of women here versus the men. You're like, Brad Bird always said it best in the Incredibles commentary. We made fun of he was talking about like the Elastigirl joke. Remember, she's looking at a reflection. Just women always dissatisfied with their bodies, and he's like, liking it to, like when men go to women, like they're trying on dresses or something. It's like, well, what do you think? How does it look? I mean, you're a woman. You look great. What do you want from me? You know, it's like sometimes the simple answer is the honest answer. So anyway, Emily here, she's checking the pictures, like flipping through them here, which been taking for at least 45 minutes. It's like they all effing suck. Just all of them. They all suck. They're all terrible. What are you talking about? They're all the same, and they look great.
Mm-hmm.
I should have Dante. Of course, then we just have like the passive aggressive. Oh, I should have had Dante take these. I don't even know why I asked you here.
Dragon, when they name dropped Dante, I did not for a second think that we would get what we got with that. So that's a great setup.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, dude, just with the name choice of Dante, I gotta admit, there is, especially later on, I'd be shocked if there weren't a little bit of this in the DNA of the writing, but definitely a Kevin Smith vibe to the writing.
No, I mean, especially because of the, I'm sure Poncio's probably like just growing out his beard naturally to just do it for the sketch, but his beard is very Dante Hicks-like, Dragon, I got to admit.
Yeah.
Relation.
Well, technically, Dante doesn't really have a beard. Tiki he has like, well, I'm not going to split. You're right. He has facial hair, so
No, I mean, you're right. I'm just saying, it's
yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
Anyway, fair point. Okay. Anyway,
no, but you are right about that. It's been a while since I actually sat down and watched Clerks. He's got a goatee.
That's exactly. He's got more like goatee than he is. But yeah. Anyway, so regardless, okay, so anyways, I should have Dante take these pictures, and then it's just like, well, why am I even out here? Then we have, honestly, one of my favorite elements in Josh Thomas's performance. This whole, this whole short film. I love that he's kind of has like a Tim Allen smart mouth going on here. It's very much like something you'd see in either Last Man Standing or Home Improvement. Just kind of that Tim Allen style of he's kind of like dealing with it's kind of the relationship comedy of he's just gonna like kind of call that out like, yeah, I'm just here just because I'm your boyfriend, and apparently part of the job description in 2021 is photographer.
Yeah, it seems that way.
I guys always love this kind of like, there's a little bit of that kind of Tim Allen kind of call out humor, just like the wonderfully sardonic and dry, just like, yeah, well,
you're not even good at it. Why aren't you even good at it yet?
Yep. I just love the cleverness on the rewatch, especially. I just love that the hidden ironic,
where she's like intentionally baiting him.
Yeah, she's intentionally baiting without realizing that, like, no, the hurt's still there, okay?
Right,
still,
exactly.
Like, even though this is supposed to be like, it was all part of a plan, the plan still happened, and, it's still, like, the whole thing, the whole joke that you're pulling on him right now essentially is in service of, like, yeah, I'm difficult for social media.
Exactly.
Which again, it's like just the irony completely being lost on her. It's just the brilliance, and of course, like she's playing up the. So I just love the performance here. Emily's playing up the difficulty and the harshness, just without being conscious at all of the fact that it's going to be just as bad looking back at what you're doing here, is you're making it worse amidst the bad idea. Oh, I've gotten good.
So then he calls out the OnlyFans. I'm not sure if it's specifically OnlyFans, but he's basically just like, "How do you think I feel about whenever you post your ass on on social media? And there's all these peach emojis.
It was a sea of peach emojis.
Look, a peach." All right, that was actually somewhat relevant.
For a change, yes, for a change.
I saw the opportunity and I took it. Anyways.
Anyway. So, anyways, I was like, I've gotten good at controlling my anger in the face of all that. So, what, you don't like my followers? And but I just want to call out the directing here again. Even just with a phone, Lovely is a really nice kind of. I assume Ponzio's doing this part of it with the phones, just in terms of how they shot this. It's a really nice kind of tracking on the move shot here, as we're kind of moving back as the walk and talk's going. I really like that.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so they have like a very real conversation. This is what I'm talking. This is where the Kevin Smith writing comes into play. This conversation about the whole sea of peach emojis and everything afterwards feels very like Chasing Amy, or I don't know, maybe a little Mallrats, I don't know, what have you. It just feels very.
You're absolutely right. I'm sure it's very. I'm sure it's very Kevin Smith inspired for sure.
I could hear Ben Affleck saying these lines.
Totally.
Either him or Jason Lee or someone or maybe Jeff Anderson. Anyway, so the point being, like
I get a Jeff Anderson vibe personally.
That's probably the most
how sarcastic it is.
To win Jeff Anderson or Ben Affleck. Anyway, so no, I don't. I like your followers. They all want to F you. They all want to screw you, and you're giving them ammo.
Yeah, without getting into personal details, I can kind of relate to that.
So then she's just turning this in on him. So now
so it's about me now.
Yep, so now the only real content I'm providing is my butt, essentially.
And honestly, yes, kind of. If that's what's driving your viewership.
Yep. So let's see. Right. Okay. Anyway, then we have just like unleashing. You're like, yeah. Well, look, you're turning this in on me now. You asked to take. You asked so we can go out for the day to go to eat, and then you ask like, hey, there's a bridge, let's take some photos, and I say fine, but now it's 45 minutes later, and they're all the same poses.
And I'm hungry and I'm cranky.
I love you, babe, but I'm getting hungry and cranky.
I love how desperate it's almost sad, Dragon. If you feel so bad for the guy, it's like. He's trying so hard to not break, but he's just at that breaking point.
Oh yeah. So you're cranky because I demand perfection. And you accept me. You accept everything.
Oh, this is my favorite part of the whole sketch. This was weirdly specific.
Now, this is the genius of this is why Kelsey Pribilski is Pribilski with a capital P, man. This is where Pribilski earns all the credit, man. Pribilski rocks when she does stuff like this. So we have this moment where you accept the mediocre, just like your father. I'm going like, wow. And of course, Doug here.
Joshua Thomas just has a perfect reaction. He's just like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from?
Yep, and this is the genius of it. So right after that reaction, things have gotten real within seemingly our real conversation here. Why is that Pribilski selling the absurdity of why can't you take a good picture, Doug? And I love that Pribilski. She's taken this absurd conversation with this absurd kind of dialogue within the conversation of after it gets so real, why can't you take a good picture? That's what it's about.
Right.
And just giving it a dramatic sell like she's in the right when clearly she's insane. And it's not about the pics. It's not about the pics. It's always about the pics, she says so cravenly serious. It's always about the pics.
The likes and thumbs up and subscribes, yo.
And then he's just kind of coming.
That's not even the right terminology for Instagram. I apologize.
Not at all.
Just go ahead.
So then we have we can come back. I'm sorry. Doug's response to this is, "It's never about me, or if I'm comfortable. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. We're done here." He's walking off the set, peeved. It's like that scene from Great Muppet Caper. You know what, pig? Walk. Why don't you walk?
Or it's pretty much the South Park, screw you guys, I'm going home. But
there you go.
But yeah, and then of course Pribilski. This is probably Pribilski's best performance in the sketch, I think. Just this little beat of "Ooh, you did it, babe."
Yes, but it is. I love the truth in the girl. The truth is even past the reveal is
she's
the
so
girl
proud of him, Dragon.
The girl is just blinded by social media and just doesn't even realize. Just playing the delusion of you are so blinded by it right now. You don't even get it. So then you're right. Then we have that brilliant shift from the dramatic that honestly just played on the face, like just that beautiful shift from the dramatic, like you're caught up in the moment.
She does kind of give like this girl a squeal, which I love.
Of course, that's our playbook right there. It's our Farmiga 101. We dig it. So it's just that shift from like the dramatic. She's just been handed back the purse. Just the utter elation in the girl's like. It's like we haven't seen a girl shriek like that since me, Ryan, the whole
Ryan, oh Jesus, yeah,
socially engaged thing from Piper Henson way back. Anyway, because after like the squee and everything, it's just perfect. We have this clever POV shift. Now this shot, man, really clever how we did this. So again, we're going from one camera just to like off to the side in hiding of Alex Ponzio, man. Ponzio has entered the sketch.
A wild bearded Ponzio appears.
Part the seas, Ponzio.
Oh my God.
Has entered. A man is walking down the way.
Like, I feel like every relation, there's always like the guy friend where it's like, he's not really a threat, like to get together with her, but he's always gonna just kind of be there. I don't know, it's like kind of like that best friend role.
Sure.
I feel like Ponzio just portrays that really well, and also Dragon. I just fucking love how giggly Ponzio is in this moment.
My favorite moment with Ponzio, it's a little subtle. It's a real subtle thing where he just says, "Hi, Doug." He's just waving to him, and Doug is waving back. It's like, so I love that.
I feel like Ponzio is like he's like slightly more self-aware than Pribilski is, but he's still like definitely caught up in the social media of it all.
So I mean, he's the cameraman after all.
Of course.
So I love the also just to kind of shout out. It's been a while since we've seen Ponzio. He looks very different. He's very svelte and with a beard.
My God, he looks great. He's doing great. He just recently got married. It's nothing but up for Ponzio right now.
Things are coming up. Things are coming up Millhouse for old Ponzio.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so then of course like the wave gags, like just Doug trying to piece it together, just kind of dumbfounded, like, hey, just trying to figure it out. So now here's the thing that kills me in terms of the staging here. So the thing that just kind of says it all. Emily doesn't just stand there and apologize to Doug. She rushes over to check the footage to see if they got it.
Right,
and apologizes while she's over there, like from a distance, like, "Oh yeah, sorry. This is all part of the TikTok has this challenge going on."
Oh my God!
Getting your boyfriend
so good, you got so mad.
Oh yeah, it's just, and of course, this to me, I thought was a brilliant bit of satire in the whole thing. Once we revealed what the whole deal was, where it's just this Tiki, especially since the pandemic. It's been going on before then, of course, but since the pandemic, since people have been corralled inside and everything. TikTok and YouTube, I've seen it on the YouTube side of things. There have been God knows how many these kind of couple YouTube channels where their whole shtick has been like pranking each other with like these emotional or psychological head games, where they're just like pulling these really odd pranks, like getting them mad and all that sort of stuff. This was so accurate. Like, oh my God, as I recognize it, yeah, that's where it's like, give full points to the man here. If he hasn't won the festival, give it to him now. He's seen something we've all seen in our daily lives. You've hit like the ignore video thing, God knows how many times, and they keep popping up. And he's just nailed it so well with that wonderful self-aware, kind of like satirical lens that JGI has mastered over its many years. So you did so good. You got so mad. It's hilarious just the way she delivers that. And like, you got so mad. As cutesy as he gets. Again, Farmiga would give a thumbs up to this. Like, yes, you've studied my work. Yes.
Oh my God.
Who's hungry? So
of course, Ponzio has a little cap on it. Like, man, your relationship is messed up.
And also, we have like the calamari game. This place has. I know this place with great calamari, Dante. Like, yeah. So then we have like the.
I love calamari.
We have that saunter from old Dante to Doug here, almost like this beginning of a beautiful friendship pose in reverse here. It's like with the hand on the back, just a smile on his face, and this is like a classic Ponzio delivery. You got an effed up relationship, bro. I know, but look at her. And that I'm just saying that framing that line reminds me so much of who's that, Jay? My old lady, Daryl. My old lady. From episode 4. Anyway, yeah, so we have Emily. So Emily, she's just wrapped up in her video as she is, and of course with her quote-unquote fame or TikTok fame or what have you, completely unaware of the damage that she's incurred and that she's just inflicted upon this poor
Well, it's going to be an
schlub.
interesting launch, Dragon. We'll put it that way.
For
And
sure.
I love how it kind of like ends on that note of like, oh boy, like what are they going to talk about at that lunch?
Yeah, but and again, it's back to it's back to the male perspective too with the ending too, because she's a woman, she can get away with it. That's kind of the end gag too. Like, yeah, it's gonna happen, rinse and repeat, because it's a relationship. She's a woman. Of course, it's not the end unless it's Kelsey Pribilski's, according to the camera here, because then we put the title frame as she's walking away, calling back the peach joke from earlier. Quite funny. Mm-hmm. So. And during the credits, we have the calamari lunch going on here, and Doug seemingly weighing his options as they're watching the video, not even conversing or apologizing or anything. It's just like, so this is life. This is what I signed on for. It's just the contemplation of, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So final thoughts, Dragon. I feel like this is a great kind of like return to the JGI roots, if you will, and. Of course, hats off to Joshua Thomas and Pribilski and Poncio and company for making this happen. And, I believe this won the award, right?
Yeah, won the award for comedy, yeah.
I feel like it's a great achievement. And Dragon, honestly, I really am quite optimistic about, about kind of like having like a fresh new quote unquote season of JGI, because I really think they're going to come out of the bag swinging. I really thought they absolutely excelled with the JGI at home stuff when when that was going on, and the fact that they couldn't keep up the demand for that was very understandable. But when they did have it, it was quality stuff.
That was them on their heels. Look at what they did when they were on their heels and how amazing it was. Imagine them now, after they've been recharged and reinvigorated, and all the just like that's promise I can't even fathom how cool that's going to be once it happens.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously. Sure. I mean, we already have some some Harley Quinn and Joker versus the Real World in the pipeline.
I am avoiding Harley Quinn and the Joker versus the Real World spoilers, Dragon. I saw that was up, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna stay fresh. I prefer not to know.
All right. So, final thoughts for me. Again, beautiful satire of social media and kind of the toll that it's bound to take on these relationships and like those couples that do these videos, and like the poor schlubs just kind of like just keep it going of like, well, she pranked me, now we got to prank her, and it's like what are we doing at this point? Yeah, you got to get such. It's Andy Kaufman would thrive in social media today if you really think about it. People would he'd be he was absolutely ahead of his time. I don't mean to turn us on Andy Kaufman. It just kind of comes to mind. Talking about the social media head games and all the performance art and stuff of today, but this is all very nicely produced. And again, like I'm estimating 3 hours. I think I saw once it was 3 hours. The point being, this is processed a whole lot less than 24 hours. I know that much. So just again, it's produced very efficiently, and of course, it should be no surprise that Joshua Thomas won this. I mean, come on, look who we're talking about. Look, The man just delivers constantly, delivers well, and I'm just really glad, given how big a fan Josh Thomas is of Entourage. I just think it's really nice. And by the way, they reviewed the film. By the way, they talked about it, so they actually watched and they kind of gave. It wasn't just like voting; it was like they talked about it and they shouted out the whole stationary location, the cleverness of it all. I believe Kevin Dillon was really vocal about it. So
that's awesome.
He got praise from his betters, man, and that's. From just the men that he loves, that he looks up to an extent, I suppose, perhaps from kind of a showrunner perspective or what have you, just kind of the LA culture of it all with Entourage. So I just love that he got recognized, that they recognized him for just the thing that we kind of talk about on a regular basis, how good the guy is, with those very few exceptions like Excitable Spider-Man, which again was not his doing, but he wasn't there until the very end to say, yeah, I don't know what Wiley was thinking.
Yeah.
All right. So that does it this reach until the next exciting reach into the Just Giggle It grab bag.
You did so good, babe. You got so mad.